Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another one of the TravelMole broadcasts during this pandemic. And today I'm more than delighted to have one of our near neighbours in Europe. It's be represented, and I'm even more pleased that the representative is Maria Elena Rossi from the Italian National Tourism. Buongiorno, Maria Elena.
Buongiorno a te.
Come sta?
Molto bene, very well, thank you.
Excellent. I think we better conduct the interview in English, otherwise I'll be embarrassed after about another 30 seconds. So we'll continue in English.
Okay, wonderful, as you like.
Maria Elena, what do you think that Italy will be able to offer international tourists in the post-COVID world? Research would suggest that people are going to be looking for more open spaces. They're going to be looking for all sorts of going back to basics, if you like, rather than perhaps not city breaks. Do you think? Do you get that same research? And if so, how does the Italian Tourist Board react to that?
Yes, I can confirm this trend, which has also been the trend during the summer and the fall, where we experience mostly domestic traveling. And what we have seen is a great growth of all the mountain area, the Alps, which have been really one of the main areas of destination because of open spaces and because of the opportunity of hiking and being, let's say, outside in nature. The other trend which we've seen is the spaces in country house, around country houses, and let's say everything that was related to the hill area in Italy, which we've been promoting actually during the last years, the small villages and country houses and countryside. That's another strong trend. What we've seen is, in terms of target groups, we've seen a lot of family and friends and family holidays and people being together in let's say country houses and renting country houses, or in small agriturismi and hotels with family and friends, but with let's say opportunity of being outside. Of course, Italy is lucky to have a very extended coastline, and that means that in most places in the summer, I mean, you have the opportunity to be, let's say, outside on the beach, and with the new regulations and protocols which have been put in place, all this has happened with respect, let's say, of social distancing. Of course, you talked about short breaks in cities, and that is actually what we are looking at, because the cities are suffering most of the situation of the decrease of international travelers, and also of the need of people to feel more, let's say, in open space and to be in open spaces. But I must say, in that respect, all cities are reconsidering their open spaces and also reconsidering infrastructure and transportation in order to be able, on the one hand, to provide, let's say, a better use of the city and of the parks and also of cycling paths that are connecting the several neighborhoods. And on the other hand, I think there is a new consideration also of the relationship between the cities and, let's say, their backyard, and how to connect better the cities to, let's say, the areas around, which are mostly, of course, countryside. And so what we are doing at the moment is both sustaining, let's say, the new positioning of cities with a large campaign on main magazines and both online and offline in the world. So cities positioning themselves in this new vision. And at the same time, we are keeping on supporting, let's say, small villages and all this great offer that we have in terms of countryside and of also active holidays, especially cycling, which is one of the, let's say, the new, it's not new, but it has been growing very much during the last years, and it has been accelerated now by this new trend and the safety feeling that people are looking for.
Okay, it's interesting you mentioned a new relationship between the cities, their citizens, and the surrounding countryside.
Yes,
I think in the last few years, if anything, certainly cities in Rome have come under criticism for over tourism. You know, Venice is the obvious one, when you get 3 or 4 huge cruise ships dumping thousands of people into St. Peter's Square, but other cities as well, like Rome as well. Do you think this is an opportunity, if you accept that criticism first and foremost? But secondly, if you do you think this is an opportunity to draw a line in the sand and to say, right, we do need a new relationship between the city and tourism?
Yes, well, I don't like too much the word over tourism, in fact, because I think it's just bad visitor management. So I try to turn it the other way around, which has brought, in fact, in some periods of the year, a concentration of tourists in our cities. At the same time, when you look, and now we can check and we can work with let's say mobile phones, that is for instance control and see how people distribute themselves within cities, we can very well see that the concentration is usually in the main tourism attractions. So if you look at the city map during the most crowded periods of the year before COVID, you could really see a concentration in some areas, but whereas other areas which could in fact be very attractive for tourists, but less off the beaten track within the city themselves, are totally empty. So I think that has a lot to do with the visitor management policies from the city themselves, and the capacity also through technology to somehow indicate new paths and development of new neighborhoods within city themselves, which could be in fact a new, let's say, a great attraction, especially for in the new normal, where people will want also to find more authenticity, to go off the beaten track even within the city. So the opportunity is there. It has, as I said, a lot to do, of course, with us supporting also, let's say, a new way of visiting the city, new neighborhoods. Many cities, I'm thinking about Milano, is working really actively in developing new neighborhoods for tourism, but also like having a plan of planting 3 million trees by 2030, for instance. This is another plan of Milano. And in that respect, I think, the overcrowded cities will be something of the past. And anyway, if we look at the data now and we see when let's say the numbers of 2019 will be back, we probably need 2-3 years, especially because the long haul countries will be much less connected. I'm thinking about China, the United States, Australia, which were actually one of the main, let's say, visitors from long haul. We had the most visitors in our art cities. So in that respect, we will experience the coming 2-3 years much less tourism and let's say new policies and awareness from the cities to develop a new way of experiencing the cities for visitors. And the last aspect I would like to underline is also because we had this domestic traveling, and which will be in 2021 and 2022 playing a very important role in terms of tourism flows. I do believe that when international tourists will be back, they will find a much more authentic Italy, because Italians traveling in their own country, they really wish to to eat Italian food, to have Italian products, and to have a more, let's say, really traditional offer from cities, from countryside, etc. So I do think that we are aware how important that is, and how somehow we lost that authenticity, especially in the most like crowded destinations.
Well, that's interesting. You almost beat me to it, because I was going to mention agriturismo. You mentioned that earlier. Italy was the inventor of slow food, and I was wondering if there would be a re-emphasis, if you like, on Italian cuisine, on seasonal food, on the fact that you might go into a small restaurant in a small village in the middle of Italy, but you're almost told what to eat by the person that's running the restaurant, because it's what they actually were able to get at the market fresh that morning. And I think that's a big appeal for a lot of people, is that, that authenticity of, genuine Italian cuisine. Is that one of the elements that you'll be re-emphasizing, if you like, in this post-COVID environment we hope we will be at very soon?
Yes. Yes, you really have a point there. I mean, it is true that slow food movement started in Italy. It was more than 30 years ago in the meanwhile. And it has brought, since then, new awareness concerning how important it is to rely and to create authentic cuisine and authentic experiences based on the local products. And it is what we saw in the summer. And I've been talking and traveling around Italy in several destinations, both the well-known and the less-known destination. I mean, we see that coming back or being enhanced very much. As I said, because Italians are, of course, gourmand, and they really want to eat. When they travel, they really want to eat as a local, because there are so many differences. Every village has its own recipe for the same dish, and it is based on what the products from agriculture are coming. And so in that respect, this is certainly an angle which will be promoting as a national tourist board.
Good. Now, in the new nirvana that we're heading towards, with less crowded cities and lovely Italian food in the middle of nowhere, will you be expecting, or will you be thinking that, as far as selling those holidays internationally in Europe, that the travel trade will be a key partner in that?
Yeah, yes, I really do believe so, because I do believe that people need to be reassured, and people need to trust. And in that respect, I do believe that the travel trade plays a big role, and has to feel that role, that responsibility, because of let's say the new normal. We require much more care for the supply chain, let's say, in tourism. And I can say that we really worked very hard, and we're doing that as well now for the winter season, which is for us very important. And we don't know whether we will be able to open it, but all the ski resorts have been working very hard, as much as the let's say the beach resorts in the summer, to provide protocols that are very strict, and which have been respected by Italians, by the way. And so, I mean, on the one hand, the tourism industry in Italy has felt its responsibility and worked hard, and invested also in safety. And I think it's the trade has a very big role in order to tell that to the customer. And I think that personal relationship that the trade has, the travel agents have with their customers. They know the customer, they know what they need, they know the exact requirements they expect, and they can really be make the relationship between, let's say, the supply chain and the service providers in Italy with the customer in other countries. So I do think that this element of trust and of responsibility, if it's taken care of by the travel agents, they really have the opportunity to regain a big role, because of course the personal relationship is key, and this we know very well how it plays a role. And so at the same time, you have this double element. We relied very much on technology, and we relied very much on, let's say, digital. But I think now we are regaining the human factor and back, and combining the two elements, I think, is one of the challenges that both the trade and the tourism industry overall should work at to win this let's say battle we are to bring tourism back in the world. Yes.
Good. Well, that's very reassuring, I'm sure, for lots of our readers and our listeners. And one final question: Do you have a sort of a gut feel for when the aeroplanes will start flying again and people will start coming off the plane and getting on the trains and dispersing themselves all over Italy?
Well, what we have noticed, it's true that the car was the new black this summer. I mean, people were traveling by car feeling more reassured, and this either also from Europe. I mean, that's what we experienced. Of course, there were much less connections. We are now these days participating to World Routes, which is the largest event which should have taken place in Milan, connecting airports with airlines. And we have that event virtually, and we'll be hosting the world event in 2021 in Milan. And so we are very much talking to, let's say, both connecting to our airports and to airlines in order to see what the situation is. As far as we can see, I mean, the numbers and the scenarios that we are aware of are talking about a full recovery in 2024, especially concerning the long haul destinations. And in that respect, I mean, we will probably rely on much less connections, which we will hopefully be restarting for summer 2021. Of course, I mean, we are also talking to the big tour operators, the big player in the industry, and trying to see and be as flexible as possible for the restart even earlier. I mean, Easter this year will be on the 5th of April. So, I mean, usually the season, let's say the summer season for us starts in Easter time. And but it will be certainly a European and a summer, we think, a domestic and European summer. So Italy has 28 airports and is very well, let's say, connected. Usually it's all over from north to south, all the islands. So the opportunities are there, the infrastructure is there. We are very much relying on the possibility of testing upon departure in all airports. I mean, the Rome airport, just to give you an example, has been awarded as the best airport, COVID airport in Europe, because of this testing, fast testing upon arrival. I know that the UK has developed, Heathrow has developed this fast testing. So we do think that if there are international agreements, at least within Europe and the UK, where the testing is possible upon departure, that would make a big difference for bringing back at least some of the traffic that we are expecting. So as I said, I mean, it will be 2021 based on domestic and European and traveling from, let's say, not that far. Let's say we consider like 1,000 kilometers per car, and which is actually the way that people have been traveling in the summer, taking a car and just driving through Europe and getting to Italy, and this is what we expect. And we will be working with all airlines who are willing to invest to connect Italy to the rest of Europe, and trying to support also flight connections, of course, as much as we can. So in that respect, we are very much aware of the importance of air traffic being back. And so let's say we hope that in summer we will experience some of the air traffic coming back, and therefore also more travelers from further than, let's say, a few kilometers from home. Yeah.
Good. Well, Maria Elena, thank you very much for your time. I wish you the very best of luck in all of the things that you're trying to achieve. I'm looking forward very much to coming back to Italy as soon as I possibly can. I don't think there's a human on the planet that doesn't want to eat Italian food in a local trattoria with food that's just been taken from the market that morning. So good luck, and I hope to see you soon.
Yes, thank you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
No problem. Ciao.
Ciao.